What's up, guys? We are back at it. We're gonna do a little two-part series of this Bloodshed in Bakhmut documentary. It's got a ton of views. I've heard good things about it. If you're not familiar with Bakhmut, it's basically it's a meat grinder. A lot of people out here were calling it the modern day Stalingrad. Just a ton of death, both friendly and enemy sides. I personally have kind of a strange relationship with Bakhmut. I was asked to go on if I would want to be a part of a mission to go to Bakhmut two different times. I I did not take the mission both times, and both times I lost friends who went out there. The two guys I was living with on the front line, Cole and Kyle, two Canadian guys, both died in Bakhmut, and my platoon commander, Dentist, died during a CAS evac. He was going in to help get some casualties off the field, and as he was returning, he was hit by a mortar, and multiple wounded. My buddy Carlos and Tom, and so I mean, this place is what I consider to be hell on earth. I was stationed probably an hour and a half south of Bakhmut. I never went into Bakhmut personally, which, there's kind of this feeling of when you turn down a mission, you feel like a bitch or a puss but I've made it to this age in my life through some pretty sketchy situations by trusting my gut. And I trusted my gut on this. I actually told my commander the first time that I would go, and a couple of the guys kind of filled me in about what Bakhmut was like, and I ended up turning them down. Anyways, I trusted my gut. I'm glad that I did, because obviously they were damn near suicide missions, So let's jump into this. First off, my name is Saxon. I went by Vegas in the International Legion for the defense of Ukraine. I joined in January of 2023. I'm still in Ukraine. I am no longer in the Legion. I'm working on some other ways to try to support the cause, including making content like this, just bringing and shedding some light to the situation. I get multiple emails a day asking how to get to Ukraine, how to help, and I've been responding to every single one of them, guys. So feel free to email me. Email is in my bio or whatever YouTube has. All right, let's fucking jump into it. Rambled enough. Bakhmut.
Bakhmut, in eastern Ukraine, the scene of the war's bloodiest battle to date. Starting in May 2022, Russia attacked the city for 10 months. Resistance was fierce. Reporter Ibrahim Naber tells the story of this battle through the fate of 3 Ukrainian soldiers.
Oh, Jesus. It's a kid.
Vadim Adamov, Yuri Samanyuk, and Mikhailo Alexeyenko. Only one of them will survive the second year of the war. Ibrahim Naber travels to the war zone several times. He accompanies the soldiers to the front. He meets their relatives, their families, their friends. The Ukrainians pay a high price in the fight for their land.
Also, for those of you who don't know, there was like nothing in Bakhmut specifically in this city that was of real strategic importance. The main reason it was such a hot spot is because of where it was located geographically. Good Lord. And it's a really good central position with multiple routes to different parts of Ukraine. So Ukraine knew they could not give this position to the Russians because then they would have a lot of different routes into the other parts of Ukraine. And that's exactly why Russia was going for this location. So they just fought tooth and nail, both sides.
February 2023. Most of Bakhmut's 70,000 inhabitants have fled. Only a few thousand still live in and around the ruins of this bombed-out city. Their weekly market is under fire.
All the stores here have closed. Nobody's here anymore.
What is the situation here?
The situation? Absolute shit. Always, if you ask me like that. Do you know what I mean? I can't put it any other way. Shelling, bombings. My 2 stores were burned down.
Don't you want to leave the city?
Only when a Russian tank appears in front of me. I stand on the side of Ukraine. As long as the Ukrainian army is here, I will be here too.
This is a perfect example of the fierceness and the courage of the Ukrainian people. Absolutely crazy. I met a girl last night. Her hometown was Bakhmut, actually. And her mother stayed there during the fighting. Finally, she convinced her mother to leave. But her mom was there like while there were bombs just exploding around her yard, and she was taking shrapnel to her house. She's like, nope, I'm fucking staying.
Those still holding out in Bakhmut seek shelter in basements from the Russian bombs and shells. Most people at home no longer have access to electricity and water. For weeks, normal life in the town has ended.
Hello, I'm a journalist from Germany. What is your name?
Piotr.
Piotr, how old are you?
72.
What is the situation? What is life like here now?
What can I say? Look. It was quiet at first. Then suddenly something hit me again. Parts of a bomb only hit my lip. I was lucky.
Why don't you leave?
Well, I don't want to leave my son.
Bakhmut is the war's main front at
I bet his son's fighting there. Fuck, that's sad.
the beginning of 2023. For weeks, the Ukrainians defend their city against assaults. Russian troops captured the first districts on the outskirts of the city. The Ukrainian army still holds the center under its control.
Das war Teil der russischen Winteroffensive.
That was part of the Russian winter offensive. They attempted to take Slavyansk and Kramatorsk directly from the east. In Bakhmut itself, in the village, as many units of the Wagner mercenary troops as possible were deployed. Most of them were prisoners. In the view of the Russian army, they were worth nothing and could be used up. Bakhmut became a symbol of this war through international media coverage. Bakhmut was on everyone's lips and became synonymous with this trench warfare and the enormous number of casualties.
The battle for the city is of great political importance to Ukrainian President Zelensky. At the end of 2022, he takes a trip to the U.S. where he campaigns for further military support.
Ukraine didn't fall. Ukraine is alive and kicking.
Hat eine Flagge mitgebracht mit Unterschrift.
Guys. Hey. Hold on. Hey, chill out. Knock it off. Fucking cats. Scrapping. Alright, let's jump into it.
Brought a flag with the signatures of soldiers deployed to Bakhmut. Zelensky had also visited Bakhmut shortly beforehand. The media coverage had been enormous, so the flag was a powerful political symbol.
Ibra, come back.
Reporter Ibrahim Nabar is in the war zone. Soldiers from the Ukrainian 93rd Brigade are with him. They are responsible for ground and aerial reconnaissance.
I was when we deployed out, it was over the winter time as well when I was in the Legion, and it is brutally cold, man. It's cold in Ukraine. If you're not familiar with cold in general, Eastern Europe and into like Eastern Ukraine, close to Russia, frick, it's cold.
Since in Bakhmut. Drone pilot Vadim Adamov is 18 years old.
Okay, so our plan today is first of all not to die. It would be great, but the second of all is we are going into the Bakhmut, and then we are parking our cars in a place we know where we can put them, because you know the car is a great disadvantage when you're looking for a position, when everyone is seeing you, etc. It's not a good thing, you know.
Vadim operates small reconnaissance drones. His task is to detect Russian positions. It's up to him whether he accompanies the team to the front. He decides to go, but he does so at his own risk.
How close will this be to Russians, like approximately?
We are going to be approximately 1.5 kilometers.
1.5 kilometers.
Yeah.
Okay. That's inside Bakhmut, right?
We can go closer if you want.
That's good enough, I think.
Okay.
Ibrahim Naber captures the mission on his phone. He's the only one allowed to accompany the soldiers. The group must remain a small and unrewarding target for the Russian attackers. Vadim and Alexander are tasked with finding 2 new reconnaissance positions.
There are things you should look for is shelter, some kind of, you know, whatever is here, some kind of trench, some kind of shelter, whatever you can find. Anything is better than being on the level of the ground.
If only we could get there. I don't understand why there's no ladder leading down to the basement. Would be cool.
Hey, I want to make a quick comment real quick, guys. I got a one comment. Almost all the comments I receive are extremely supportive and positive, and I can't thank you guys enough for that. That's the kind of community that I wanted to build, and it's clearly working because you guys are amazing. But there was one clown that made a comment about, he said, how about you link the actual video instead of just blatantly stealing the content? So I want to give this guy his 1 minute of, attention real quick. First of all, that's retarded, okay? Second of all, please refer to YouTube's terms and conditions if you think this is stealing content, okay? This is that may be a common misconception, but it's simply not the case. Third, this community of Legionnaires and Ukraine supporters and this community that I'm a part of, we share all of each other's videos, and we try to interview with each other and share each other's content just for, excuse me, for more exposure of the realities of this situation. There's nobody trying to steal content for profit or anything. I just mentioned the last video, I don't get paid for this. This is just because I like to react and hang out with you guys doing this. So anyways, if anybody was concerned besides this one douchebag, that's the situation with reacting to videos. There's no copyright, there's no stealing content. The certain cases like this have gone actually to the major court system and been proven that this is not stealing content. So anyways, rambling. Let's get back to the real important shit.
This basement is not suitable. The soldiers decide to continue their search outside. Then the impacts in the vicinity increase. Vadim turns back around.
Into the basement? Come on, let's wait for the explosions to end.
It wasn't far, but it wasn't even close, considering that we are still alive.
I suggest we stay here for a moment and listen to how the shelling develops. Honestly, shit. We're a highly visible target right now. Okay, here we go.
You wait for him to go a little bit forward so we don't go in crowd.
It's kind of surreal seeing somebody this age. I mean, I know it's 18 is the legal age in the US to join the military as well. But I mean, this is just a kid, man. And I've mentioned this in past videos, but on my last mission, I saw a kid about this age die. And we were transporting him back to, during evac, he was on the bed of the truck. And gosh, it was just, anyway, I don't know. I'm not going to get into that, but it's sad, man.
Like at 10 meters behind you, right?
Here is very long distance.
Maintaining a distance from each other, the spotters advance deeper into the city. Almost every building shows signs of destruction. The neighborhood looks deserted. The soldiers inspect a school and its gymnasium.
Destroyed school, right?
Yeah, not a long time ago there was like kids playing and stuff.
Is this outgoing?
Vadim does not answer. Before the Russian invasion, Bakhmut was full of life, known for its good wine and the nearby salt mines. But now the town has been under constant fire for months. For the soldiers, every mission here carries a high risk, a deadly risk.
It's a hell of devastated city, and it's really scary to think that the same thing could have happened to Kiev, where I'm from, when I spent all my life, when all of my friends, family live, where my first school is, when all of the memories from childhood.
Vadim and Alexander stop at a friendly unit. The basement of an abandoned house serves as a shelter. These rooms are sleeping quarters in the middle of hell. It is uncertain how long Bakhmut's defenders will be here. They know that the enemy is pushing forward by any means necessary. Bakhmut is threatened with encirclement. The commander of the small Ukrainian force is Yuri Samanyuk, but everyone calls him Yura.
I'm certain on the radio here. I'm certain.
Okay.
It's a 11. 11. Yeah.
Get it. And what is your job? Are you like a drone operator?
No. Head of the motor battery.
Oh, okay.
And the grenade launchers.
Are they pushing really hard here?
Yeah. Every night and every day.
Soldier in the bed.
Yeah, it's very hard.
It's my best friend.
Yeah.
You know each other for a long time?
Yeah. It's like a brother. We are from one village.
Where do you come from?
I'm from Ivano-Frankivsk region. I'm born there. But I live near Kyiv. 12 years near Kyiv. And he is from my village. And I put him here in 93 Brigade.
The soldiers have settled into their temporary accommodation.
It's our loft style basement.
2-star?
Yeah, maybe 3. We have internet, we have electricity, and we have food. That's all we need.
Militarily, they need far more, as the conversation shows. The situation in the middle of Bakhmut is tense. The attackers are advancing meter by meter, bloody battle by bloody battle.
What is your age? I didn't ask this.
36.
36, yeah.
36, yeah.
Family?
Yeah. 2 kids. Now live in Slovakia.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
With the wife, yeah?
Yeah, with my ex-wife. Now I have a second wife, second marriage. In this war, I married. It's the second time.
Yuri Samanyuk's new wife is Halina. The bride wears white. The groom is in camouflage. It is a wartime wedding.
Саманюком Юрієм Юрійовичем та Данченко Галиною Петрівною зареєстровано.
Is she soldier too?
No. But she have 2 kids too. Then I have 4 kids now. Yeah.
What are you fighting for? It's a big question, but
I want that they come to my home. I need to stop it here. But my village was under the occupation near Kyiv too. My village is a little bit broken.
Vadim uses a break to call his mother. She has fled to Germany.
Hello?
The soldiers have access to the internet thanks to portable Starlink receivers, even on the front line.
We used Starlink on the front as well. Literally a lifesaver, man. I would shout out Elon Musk.
They communicate via encrypted services.
Mom, how are you? Everything good with you?
Ziegen.
Ziegen? Aha, a village near Ziegen.
It's time to leave. Vadim and Alexander set off again. They're in search of a safe position for the reconnaissance drone flights.
We're moving now to a new position. All you can hear the whole time are noise and explosions.
why is it getting so? It's getting a little intense now, right?
That's a Vasilyok mortar, isn't it?
No, a Vasilyok fires 4 shots at the same time. It sounds like...
The soldiers discover a house. From the outside, it looks perfect for their purposes.
Where are their rifles, dude?
They want to take a closer look. A locked gate does not present an obstacle.
Welcome home.
The house is abandoned and badly damaged. The residents seem to have fled a long time ago. Their belongings are scattered all around. They must have escaped in a great hurry.
This is pretty similar to the areas that the village that we were stationed in. That was a handful of kilometers from the zero line, the trench line. You could tell people left quickly. I mean, this is a lot of shit, but it's similar to the ones that we were in.
Over there would be perfect.
I know they're like they're scouts, right? That's what their job is, but not having a rifle to me is crazy.
Where? Oh yeah, from the apartment there.
While Alexander inspects the basement, Vadim takes in the almost surreal situation in the living room.
It's always weird, you know, to
chilling,
to be in places like this because it feels like there was some kind of life, you know, like this guy, he was really into wrestling, he was really into physics, whatever. He was like feeding his fishes, etc. And then everything in this house just stopped. I don't want, you know, my 7-year-old sister to grow up and, you know, go to war. So we just have to end it up now. Whatever time it takes, you know, it feels personally when you are 18 and you're in a war, it feels like it will last for eternity, because I got out of school, I spent a year working, like shooting stuff and say working as director, and then a war.
Vadim sets up his surveillance drone, which he carries in his backpack. The device can be bought almost anywhere. It is his weapon on the front line. Some are equipped with infrared cameras. They all have zoom lenses. Vadim's drone takes off on a test flight over the Russian-occupied territories and immediately detects suspicious movements.
5 people. Yeah, it's Russians.
The enemy soldiers have no idea how close they are to death.
It's a test flight, and we don't have a connection with an artillery. We can't tell them right now. But, you know, I'm shooting on a video their position, and then I will bring the materials to our command and point, and then we'll be able to analyze it.
The experiment convinces Vadim and Alexander.
I talk about these, if I can remember the name, Posatkas. Posatkas are these like tree lines in between. It kind of divides up sections of land, like farmland. And these Posatkas are where the trench, like a very large percentage of the trenches are dug where people stay. It's the only type of little bit of cover, right? And it's not even really cover, it's concealment, because pretty much small arms fire, anything can rip straight through this. But that's where this is where everything is done on the front.
To use the house as their observation post. They continue their mission in Bakhmut to find yet another position. Despite the shelling, there still seem to be civilians nearby.
It's unbelievable how people can still live here. I've just seen a house with a sign on the gate, Живут люди. It translates as, people still live here.
Where's his rifle?
I'm so fucking tired of this walking.
It's incredible. When I hear these noises, I got really scared. But you both are so used to it, right?
Yeah, when you were hearing them over and over again, you're starting to, you know, to get the sound of everyone, and you're hearing, is this shooting in your direction? Is this shooting in another direction?
The gunfire and impacts nearby don't seem to impress the soldiers. This house is also deserted. There's no sign of the inhabitants. Nevertheless, Vadim and Alexander move on.
Can't get access, so we go.
You can't access this position.
The shelling intensifies. The impacts are closer. The soldiers seek cover in the basement of another unit they're working with. Here, war reporter Ibrahim Naba meets 28-year-old soldier Mikhailo.
AKA MC.
My nickname is MC. At the moment, we are currently in Bakhmut in the Donetsk region. The Russian troops are about 1 kilometer away from us. More or less, 1 kilometer. And I am working here with the other guys on a mortar.
Mikhailo volunteered to join the army after Russia's invasion. After just a few months, he was transferred to the front. According to him, 85% of his comrades have already been killed or injured in Bakhmut.
15, 16.
There are only 15 or 16 of our guys who are still here. The others can no longer fight.
From 100, right?
Yeah.
Hard.
Wow.
One thing is clear.
Excuse me. That's typical, though. There's so much indirect fire and constant indirect fire, right? Just so much arty, so much so many mortars that it's just a numbers game. You're going to get hit by a piece of flying shrapnel, a little one, a big one. It could be lethal. It could be not lethal, you know, but it's a numbers game. And I think that's one of the reasons why Ukraine is constantly needing more and more manpower, because once you take a couple pieces of shrapnel, you're combat ineffective, pretty much, right? Of course, it's going to depend on where you take the shrapnel, but if it's inside of you, you need to get off the battlefield. You need to get it removed. And then you need X amount of time to recover. You could need surgeries. So then another soldier has to fill that position, right? At some point, you run out of manpower.
At this stage of the battle, the Russian attackers have the upper hand, both in terms of personnel and material.
The Russians have fighter planes in action here, helicopters, lots of mortars, lots of artillery, lots of ammunition and mines, and we simply don't have enough people. And that is why we have to be smarter than them.
The young soldier grew up in eastern Ukraine. For him, Russia's attack on his country is incomprehensible.
My comrade here, he is from Donetsk, and I am from Slovyansk. We have spoken Russian all our lives. We spoke it before the war, and we still speak it today. It's everyone's free decision here to speak what you want. Now, we don't want to let the weapons speak. But the fact is, we have to. Because if we don't do it now, if we don't fight, we will all die.
Speak weapon language, we all died. We
don't want to negotiate with Russia.
We don't want to accept their rules. You know, we just.
I've had couple people reach out to me, Russians or Russian sympathizers, or these people, and they explain how Ukraine was a part of Russian territory X amount of time ago, blah, blah, blah. The bottom line is, same with Belarus, and the bottom line is Ukraine does not want to be Russian, period. So the fact that the Russians know this and are forcibly taking this is what makes this conflict very, very cut and dry, very simple. There's a very simple right and a very simple wrong. You look at something like Israel and Palestine, it's a lot more dynamic, right? In my opinion, there's still a very clear right and wrong in this situation, but for other people, I could see how that would be a much more confusing conflict. This one is very fucking simple, right? The people who are trying to argue or rationalize why Russia did this, I don't want to hear it, honestly, because that shows me where you're at mentally. That shows me that you're not open to logic and statistics and numbers and the truth. Whatever.
Want every single of our territories back because it's ours.
The will and morale of the defenders seem unbroken, but everyone is reporting heavy losses. They have too few fighters, too few weapons.
Russia did this. Okay? If this makes you sad, this limping fucking dog that probably won't survive the winter, if this makes you sad, Russia did this.
Too little ammunition. When the soldiers stop by Yuri's basement again on the way back, the young commander talks openly about another problem. Russia is advancing through the city block by block.
Actually, there is like a street fight going on, right?
Yeah, it's street fight, real street fights.
On the outskirts.
Yes, yes, and it's very hard.
And and the Russians also have like snipers here too, right?
Yes, and they works mostly at the night. They have.
You know, when I was on the front, I bitch and complain, you know, like infantrymen do, about, man, I wish we got, you know, a position in a building or a house, because we were always in those like posадkas, those tree lines, just in dirt holes. But I will take a dirt hole in the middle of some farmland over being in Bakhmut any day of the week, man. This place, words almost cannot describe how shitty Bakhmut is. And this is doing a good job at kind of explaining the background behind the Bakhmut and why it's important, and mostly about the Ukrainian soldiers, right? But I hope the second part of this will kind of explain how gnarly the fighting is there.
Thermal visual scopes, and it's very big problem. Second problem after artillery. We have many losses from snipers.
At nightfall, the team leaves the embattled town. Yuri and Mikhailo stay in their positions in Bakhmut. Vadim wants to return to the combat zone the next morning. For reporter Naber, the journey continues through the night on board the Avstrika, a former school bus converted into a mobile military hospital. Ukrainian soldiers from the front-line region near Bakhmut are treated here on their way to the next hospital. A young team of doctors looks after the wounded. Many have been seriously injured in the fighting.
We have now on board 12 soldiers.
Side note, and a less serious note, you are liable if you get injured and you have to be seen by the Ukrainian medics. You are liable to fall in love. I swear, it's like part of the job description is, if you are a medic, you have to be female and just gorgeous. It's incredible. I was blown away. I'm like, these look like models, and they're out here fighting a war.
And for the regular reanimobile, it will be 1 or 2 person maximum. Current situation on the front line is turbulent, so in some regions, in some areas, it is very aggressive, very severe losses of our soldiers.
We understand that these guys, they all are heroes who came to war to defend us all, and me, including me. So first of all, my job is to show them respect, to give them that help that they need, to get them alive to hospital.
Love this kind of pride, right? Just this pride for their soldiers and this respect. This is something, this kind of mentality is something that growing up I always respected about the USA. Always. It's something, as I grew older, seemed to fade away a lot. There's less and less respect for military personnel, less respect for what the military personnel are fighting for in the US. It's disheartening to see. It's a real bummer, but it's nice to see that's still happening here. And I hope it comes back in the US, genuinely. I think it's one of the coolest, best parts of the country.
We had one guy, he was really, dehydrated, starved. He didn't eat for 5 days, and he cried when we fed him, really. He said something like, "Oh my God, it's unbelievable. I really dreamed for some crackers and some juice or even water."
After almost 4 hours, the bus reaches the hospital. Everyone has survived that night. The young doctors head straight back to the front, where many more wounded are waiting.
Oh shit. Okay, this is 45 minutes long. This went way longer than I meant to. So we'll do a part 2 on this one. Like, subscribe, comment, please. Again, all the support, you guys, is awesome. Please continue to email me. I will give you as much advice and information that I can. And I love you guys, and I'll see you on part 2.